Welcome to another edition of Why Are You Awake? My name is Paul Farahvar. I'm your host. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to this podcast. Review, give us all the stars you can. If you're listening to this, go check it out online at youtube.com/paulfcomedy. If you're watching this, keep watching. Check out Dwayne Kennedy, our guest on this episode. He is a Chicago legend. You guys are going to be here for a treat. Follow me at Paul Farahvar on Instagram and on YouTube at paulfcomedy. Enjoy this episode and check out our sponsors. Hey gang, as some of you know, I used to be a practicing lawyer in Chicago. I no longer practice, but from time to time I need a lawyer. And when I need a lawyer, I call my friend Scott Shapiro. Scott Shapiro has been practicing law for over 25 years in Chicago. He does it all, from workers' compensation to personal injury, employment issues, and even entertainment law and contract needs. If you need a lawyer, call my friend Scott. 312-648-8800. That's 312-648-8800. Or you can email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. Tell him I sent you. Yeah, see your face, a little pretty face a little bit.
You know.
Hey everyone, it's time for another edition of Why Are You Awake? This week we got a very special guest. I'm Paul Farahvar. I'm your host. This week we have one of my favorite comedians, a legend in Chicago. I can't believe he's here in the studio.
Yeah, me either.
You've seen him on Conan. You've seen him on Seinfeld. You've seen him on. He's got an Emmy for Kwame Bell with HBO on HBO. Dwayne Kennedy.
Hey everybody.
We got some callers already. No.
Yeah. Caller, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead,
You don't
caller.
even have headphones on. Doesn't even make sense. It looks like you're singing "We Are the World."
Oh man. Woo. Nah, I don't want to make that mistake. Yeah.
What's
that
the
song sucks. That song sucks, Bob. Come on.
I liked the Band-Aid version. Do they know it's Christmas?
I love that song.
That's a good song.
That's a great cut.
Great. Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Wonder, Quincy Jones produced it.
No.
Sting.
That's We Are the World.
No, Quincy. Oh no, Bob Geldof. You're right.
Bob Geldof.
Yeah. Yeah, I got them mixed up.
They know
Yeah.
it's
Great song.
Boy George.
Boy George Michael.
Yeah.
U2's Bono.
I guess some of those cats overlap because some of them did that.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
did,
so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they did Live Aid and anyway, but we're digressing here.
Yeah. Are we? It's a podcast.
No, we have a
agenda?
goal. We have an agenda. Talk
Okay.
about late night living.
Oh, man.
LIVIN.
Yeah,
No
well, that's it
G.
for me. Podcast over because I'm in bed by 6:30.
That's now,
yeah.
but that's not how it always was.
No.
You were a night owl for most of your life.
Well, I was doing stand up.
Yeah.
You become an incidental night owl, just by the nature of what you do.
You weren't like that before? You weren't when you were growing up? Were you up late or were you going to bed early and waking up early?
I wake up early. I still wake up early. I don't know about late. I guess as a kid, 11, 12, that's late. I didn't party or anything.
So you became a night owl because of your career.
Yeah, it was a job requirement. I must stay up late and use drugs.
Well, did you stay up after the shows? Because you're still wired after a show.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Well, what do you do? What do you do then? And you're still doing shows, so you're incidentally a late night person again.
Again, yeah. Well, but now, once I'm done with the show, I don't hang out as long, or certainly not as frequently. Every now and then I might hang
Sure.
out a little while, but mostly it's like, man, the show's over. Thanks everybody.
Out.
I got sleep to get.
But you don't sleep. You can't fall asleep right away after a show.
I usually do my sleeping while I'm on the drive home.
Sure.
I like to get my winks at 90.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how long does it take you to come down after a show where you can actually wind down, you can turn your brain off and fall asleep, even if you're not hanging out?
After a good show, a while. After a bad show, even longer.
I was going to say, where are you going with this?
After a bad show, I don't sleep for weeks.
So you're technically an incidental night owl again.
Yeah.
So what do you do to pass time? You're not doing drugs or alcohol, no more?
No, and I don't do drugs. Don't use drugs, kids.
No, this is for
that
adults.
reminds me of a story, Paul. When I was on both methamphetamine and heroin, no, you know what? I tell you, this is my ritual and my routine for like when I would do Zanies on Wells. When I'm done with the show, I'd get on North Avenue, drive west on North Avenue, make a right on Halsted. I'd go up to the taco burrito joint
on Halsted.
Right
It's
next
gone.
to Kingston
Rest
Mines.
in peace. Yeah, it's gone.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
TB2, Taco Burrito Palace #2 on Halsted is gone.
Next to
Kingston Mines.
What?
Yeah. When was the last time you were there?
I thought I was there yesterday. I guess I wasn't. When did it close?
I don't know. It's
not
been
that
gone.
long ago.
Pre-COVID or during
Oh,
COVID.
no. They're back then. I've been there since then.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Oh, wait, don't scare me because I'm going there after this.
Allende is better. They're sponsored by Allende Burritos.
Allende. When you are trying to do a podcast.
So, I mean, you eat there. That's your
Yeah.
routine.
Yeah, you should go. That would be the routine, like go out for a bite.
Sure.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
That's how I met you. That's how I met you, actually, at late night at a show. I'll tell you. We'll get to that in a second.
All right.
But so you eat at this may or may not existing TB2, Taco
Right.
Burrito Palace #2.
Right.
And then what happens?
Eat, talk about the show.
By yourself, yeah.
Well, sometimes I bring yeah, actually. I actually have better conversations about the show by myself. Dwayne, you tonight, brother, you are woo.
Do you switch seats when you're responding, or you just stay in the same?
Well, until the food comes.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But or if I'm there with some people, just we're just chopping it up, as they say.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then what do you do? How do you wind down after you've eaten a burrito? That makes you a little tired.
I eat tacos. I don't eat burritos.
Tacos?
Yeah.
Okay. You're doing shows again.
Yeah.
Now COVID's over. What are you doing to get to bed? I mean, you can't fall asleep. So what do? You just eat, then you go home. What do you watch TV? How do you wind down, especially after a bad show?
Well, see,
which I don't believe you've had in a while.
Well, I don't know. Well, your standards change. You know what I mean? Like it's like how
Sure.
it goes. Like somebody come up to you, oh man, I loved it, and you're thinking,
Yeah, you should have seen me last week. Yeah,
That's
what you're saying.
But I don't, I mean, once I get to the crib, man.
You're able to turn it off?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I might be bad for this podcast, brother, because, falling asleep is actually one of my strong points. This show might not make the cut.
So here's how I knew you were a night owl, or used to be.
Okay.
This is when I first started doing comedy.
Mm-hmm.
There was a restaurant on the corner, right by Zanies on LaSalle.
Oh,
What was
Mitchell's.
It
was a number of different names. LaSalle and Clark.
Yeah,
No. North and Clark.
North Clark and where they all meet. Yeah.
Yes.
And there used to be a Mitchell's.
And it was 24 hours.
Yes, 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I had just left practicing law, and you and Pat McGann were in there. And I didn't know who you were yet because I just started. Pat McGann was the host when I auditioned at Zanies for Bert back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to him like, hey, man, you were the host. You changed my life, blah, blah, blah. Because to the Pat's like, that's great. This is Dwayne Kennedy. You know who he is? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I went home and Googled. I was like, holy shit, I just met Dwayne Kennedy. And you guys sat there. I mean, I was by myself working, and you guys sat there for a while. I mean, it was 2, 3 in the morning. We were just talking. This was probably 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, time, man. Woo. So, sometimes that would happen.
Right.
Yeah. But again, it's circumstantial because it was Zanies, because it's a place that's open 24 hours, because it was Pat, who's my guy. So, yeah. So, that can happen where you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you were a night owl at some point in your life, and then it changed.
Occasionally, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if that it keeps in theme with the show.
What time are you waking up in the morning with the normal people now?
Yeah, for the most part.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah. No, man, don't you?
Well, that's our time.
Right. Anywho, Dwayne, you take care and don't bother to listen for this episode because
it's gonna come out in 2025.
Right. Yeah, this will be a very special. This will be on one of our outtake shows.
Dwayne, before we started the show, I told you, and you told me you didn't read this book, but The Perfect Amount of Wrong is a book I'm reading. Mike Bridenstine wrote. You are
That's a
all.
great title.
Yeah, we'll give it a shout out here. But he not a sponsor of the show, so we'll cut it out. But you were responsible for a lot of comedians continuing comedy. You know that, right? Kyle Kinane credits you. John Roy credits you. You were the shit back then. You still are. What do you say to that?
Well, let's talk about getting to sleep some more.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. It's flattering.
Do you know, like, people, anytime you've talked to me, I know exactly the things that you've told me, the conversations we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize how much of an effect you have on people when you talk to them at a show? Like, and do you think about that before you say something? Because, like, to me, I made a decision long ago when a comedian has a bad set, I'm not going to say good set because I feel like that's bad.
Yeah, dishonest. And it doesn't really help them in the long
right.
run.
It doesn't help them.
Yeah.
Someone else told me that. I'm like, you're right. I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember me and Adam Burke were sitting at a show and someone didn't have a good set. And he goes, good set. I go, don't do that. And I yelled
Adam said good set to the person?
To the person. I said,
Yeah.
don't do that. He goes, why? I'm just being nice. I'm like, no, we're not helping them because they're gonna remember you because they know you're Adam Burke and you said good set and they're going to think that was a good set. You're not doing them any favors.
Wow.
Do you do that? Do you ever?
I oftentimes say, hey, bad set. Hey,
I'm not saying
set.
do that, but like you can't be dishonest at your level. That's,
yeah.
I mean,
no, you know, I don't know, man.
Or have you done that? And you're like, shit, I
I've
shouldn't.
done that.
Fuck. Now what you told me might have been irrelevant.
No, because what is it? You make assumptions. I won't say it to a person, and this is okay. This makes me seem like an insincere phony, which I am. You know, let's not mince words. But I don't do that mostly. But I have. What have I done? I do the thing now. I'm diplomatic. Like, hey, that had potential.
Yeah.
I don't even say that, but I won't. And this is a diplomatic thing because you meet so many people, and sometimes if they're looking for something, if I think you're really funny or you have genuine talent, I will be more critical of you.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I see where you actually got potential. But somebody who doesn't seem like, I don't know, and I doesn't mean they won't. They could,
right? It's just your opinion.
Yeah, and they could become the genius of all geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
But if it looks like, oh man,
yeah,
it's probably not gonna ever happen for you, then what else can I say? I don't know, because I mean, the world's gonna tell them eventually.
But is it? That's the thing, because sometimes. You know, another comedian
right into a TV show.
Yeah, another comedian told me a long time ago. He goes, when we're nice to each other, because they're like, oh, they were supportive of each other in the Chicago comedy scene, and he's like, don't do that. Like you shouldn't do that because they're not gonna get better. You're booking your friends on shows. They think they're good, and then when they go in the real world, they're eating dicks, and that's not gonna help them in the long run.
Right.
So I feel like it's good to be honest. And I remember when I started. The comedians that I looked up to, I'd be like, if they said something, I remembered it. I mean, you and I remember exactly when you told me what you made a comment on my set that I knew you listened. We were at like some private club show. It was a tough crowd, but I did well for that show. Mm-hmm. And you took me aside, like, those are some smart jokes. I like this thing and the callback. And I was like, oh shit.
Okay.
We were at a thing and I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go, and I just remember I was like so excited.
Yeah,
like you have that, and it looks like that was happening back in the early 2000s too for like comedians like John Roy and Kyle Kinane and people like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I never think about that in terms of like stature or status or anything. Like I just, if I have an opinion or about, I just tell you what I think if you ask me.
Right.
I mean, if we're really talking, not in passing. Hey, what'd you think? That's a good set.
Well, I'm not talking about if you're sitting down and someone asks you, but if you voluntarily say good set to someone, you
that's
better
different.
mean it. Yeah.
Right. That's different.
And I think even at any level of comedy, if you've been doing it for more than a level, I feel like you have that responsibility to be honest.
You're right. You're right, Paul.
That's why we're here. It's just an intervention for you to stop
Dwayne,
it.
You need to get some principles about yourself, brother.
You need to stop encouraging bad behavior. Is what I'm trying to say.
Let's not do that because that's hilarious. You know what? I like that part where you took your pants down and mooned the audience. You should keep doing that. More of that. I should? Yeah.
Well, they tell the story in the book where the comic before you made himself vomit or something, and you had to go on afterwards, and you just destroyed. And they tried to set it up a second time, and that's before my time. But you were like,
he fancied himself a performance artist.
Yeah.
And he went on stage, with a toothbrush and just kept jabbing out until he finally vomited on stage. Now,
and you had to go after that.
I had to go after that
twice. He did it twice.
I don't remember that part.
Okay. Well, the first time, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah. I should have. See, I'm not. Man.
Did you say good set there?
Yeah. Hey, good set. You might want to punch up the vomit with some bits of hot dog or something. Maybe hot dog.
But this is missing some Kool-Aid.
Yeah. But other than that, and I would save that for my closer. But other than that. Oh man, this cat! I don't even know what I'm not. I remember his name, but I'm not going to. Does it say his name in the book?
It does say his name. Well, his stage name, yeah.
Oh, what was his stage name?
I don't remember.
Okay,
he doesn't do comedy anymore.
Yeah, he and his performance artist girlfriend at the time. They thought they were all avant-garde, New York, and how about some jokes? Get that a shot.
You went up afterwards and were like, you just because you had to. You're like, what you say is right before you go on stage. You'd be like, the one thing you don't want to do is throw up. That's hack. And the crowd just went nuts, because it was just like a perfect response. And I thought in the book they said that Nate Craig booked you again, you two together to try to create it to happen again.
Oh,
but I could be. It was like a weird.
No, I don't know if I ever work with that cat ever again in life. Is he going to be here tonight?
Yeah, he's coming tonight. He's going to be here. Like, well, we brought him here tonight so he can apologize.
Man, he thought he was being all, like I said, avant-garde and all that stuff. You take that shit to New York. You take that, you pack up your vomit, and you take it to New York. Like, over 2.5 years.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then you came up, and you, were still just, how did you... I remember you said this is like the first time I've been up in a while. I think we were at Laugh Factory, and you're and you still destroyed. How do you keep your brain? Are you secretly performing somewhere? Because you
in here,
really?
Yeah, I'm at Club Mind.
Yeah, all
the time.
So what's your process then? If you haven't gone up for 2.5 years, how do you wipe off that rust and just fucking? You're back to where you were left off.
Because Paul, comedy is who I am. You see, that reminds me of a story, Paul.
I mean, were you nervous after not going up? How did that?
Yeah, I think so. But once I was up, man, it's it felt good.
Yeah.
I was rusty.
Yeah.
I knew I was rusty. Yeah, in my head, and it's and coming up with new bits and then remembering old stuff I forgot I had to do this or say this or with pacing and things had to come back to some degree.
How often are you?
Or things had to come back, to some degree, but mostly,
Were you writing every day during the pandemic?
Not every day, but I wrote. I always write.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go through periods where I maybe write more at more time than others, you know. But I'm always.
Are you recording your sets and listening back to what?
I record them and then I never listen to them.
That's the key.
Yeah, that's the key.
That's the key follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. What do I know? I'm telling
man,
everyone
look at you.
good set.
You got the fancy woman
The studio, yeah.
Yeah,
And the light. Don't forget the light
setup,
behind
you.
you.
Know something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a light behind me.
Yeah, I figured shit out
Yeah.
some way. And another time, I remember you came out, guns a-blazing, was after the election. This is 2016. I don't know if you remember this, but Laugh Factory, you're like, I'm going to go up. And then you came up. Everyone was murdered. It was like the week after the election. Everyone's trying to do shit. It was hacky. And you went up, and it was the first show Friday. I'll never forget. The room was divided. The room was clearly, we're in Chicago, so it's a little more pro liberal or more open, liberal crowd. But you did new joke, like 80 jokes about the election in like 12 minutes or 15 minutes, and just destroyed. And I remember the person who had to go after you, I'm not going to say who it was like devastated. Like, how the fuck am I going to talk about, he couldn't do anything political. And I think if I were him, I was probably like, well, I can't do that. like you just wrote all, and it was all like, it had to have been written like that week. I remember what you were talking about. I never heard you do those jokes again. It was like all for that week.
Yeah. And I don't even remember them now. Yeah. And sometimes that happens. You just get a burst of inspiration. Yeah. It depends on what it is. I've done that a few times in life. After some event, or if I haven't been on in a minute or whatever, you just get a burst. Like, oh man, this and this.
Yeah.
And then another time it was like, hey, let me just do the hits.
Go to the well. Yeah.
You know.
Do you just when do you decide you're going to do that? Right before a show, or what's your process?
Well,
if let's say you didn't write anything new, you just go
like
up.
Saturday, like this past Saturday, I was at Zany's in Rosemont, and I just, you know what it is. Then I just start searching, because I have sometimes, you make a set list of jokes you've done, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a set list. Then I just like,
You just didn't. You just threw it all away and just had fun.
Yeah, I didn't have a set list. I had a set list, put it in my pocket, and I just didn't use it. And I was like, let me just see what happens when I'm up there. And then it was bits I had done, but sometimes, like a lot of times, like there's something I'm not even thinking about at all. And then you're on stage and something happens, and like, oh yeah, and then it just
pops up.
It pops up, And then even with that, I'll be mindful. I like to I said one thing or a few things that were I'd never said before on stage. No, that's not true. I said it 2 weeks prior at a gig in New York, but I was just kind of working it out. So I threw it out there. What the heck? Yeah.
And it went well?
I don't know. It went all right. It was a thing. I still got to work on it, but
you can call them the Zanies, or you can email them, and they'll give you your whole video of your whole set.
Yeah. That's, you know what? And that's
you don't even have to listen to it. You can just watch it.
I've had them send me and email me sets. Same thing with Laugh Factory. I've never looked at them. Then sometimes they contact me. I got this your set here. Email and let me know. I just never got back to them.
Why are you self-sabotaging, Dwayne?
I don't know, brother. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they got another you got another podcast for that?
So well, being a late night person, typically that's what happens.
I don't know. I'm trying to be better about it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how? Start listening to your sets.
Listening, because it definitely helps. You don't have to get over 100%. That. Yeah. So I'm trying to be more intentional, Paul. I'm trying to intersect intentionality.
No one likes to listen to themselves. I don't think if you do, you're a lunatic. I think you're, but you have to. I force myself to do it. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I learned is the best way to do it is I put a speaker in the shower and I put it on my phone and I record it, because you're showering. You have to listen to it. Mm. What are you going to do? Get out of the shower, like, I can't take it anymore. You listen to it, whether you absorb it or not. Mm-hmm. You're stuck listening to your set. All you got in that situation, all you got to do is push play.
And how has it helped you?
We're here, right? I haven't moved but I'm different than you. I'm not writing prolific shit. I'm talking about being single still at my age. So it's not like I'm not changing the world with my comedy.
Hey, who is?
I mean, I feel like you
No.
could. You just choose not to.
Let me check the world. Nah, still the same.
Well, I mean, you got an Emmy, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty.
And guess what? World's still the same. Things still suck.
But you have this prolific, so much stuff, and in the book they talk about too. It's where people want to buy your albums, they want to hear your shit, or because everyone talks about it, and it's so hard to find your material.
Yeah, most of it.
That's your legacy. Don't you want people to fucking 20 years from now be like?
I guess I do now. I mean, I used to think about that, and then I mostly didn't think about that, and now I'm thinking about that again. Like, yeah, I need to get all this stuff documented and recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I have to be more deliberate,
intentional. I think is what you said. Yeah.
About listening, because I want to get better. That's the beauty of this thing, man. You can always get better and always learn. I love that.
Yeah.
You're never stagnant or static, or it shouldn't be.
Well, clearly with you, it's not. I mean, if you went 2.5 years and you come out banging after not doing 2.5 years of stand up, allegedly, I still don't believe that you weren't fucking doing.
But again, I was doing up here, and just you make your friends laugh and you talk and have conversations. That's kind of doing something. I mean, a lot of material comes out of conversations,
sure.
Right?
Wait, so when something happens, first of all, you're not seeing your friends during that 2.5 years as much. At least you shouldn't have been.
Well,
if you're following the rules.
I was talking to a lot of people, but then I was still working. I was working on United Shades.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So me and Kamal would talk and interact.
And then you write shit down. You're like, hey, I wrote that.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah, that might be funny.
Would you pitch stuff to him and he wouldn't take, like, fuck it, I'm going to take it for myself?
No, well, or he would say something like, man, that's funny, because he stopped doing stand-up as well. Yeah. He just went back on stage a couple of months ago. Yeah. And I was actually going to go out. He did a benefit show in Oakland, and I was going to go out there and open for him, but I just couldn't make it. Some stuff is going on with my father, just sick, so I couldn't make it. But so I think he's going to start going back up as well.
Yeah. That's good.
But no, I want to do that, man. I want to document things and put out a bunch of albums and write a book and
hell yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff.
I feel like if you wanted to record an album, even if it was just 45 minutes, I feel like you would just have to call any venue and be like, I'm going to record it on Friday. And then it would fill up, and then both shows would be sold out, and you could probably do 2 separate 45-minute sets, put them together, and you'd have like a special that probably is better than 92% of everything out there.
Oh, well. Thank you. I don't know.
Just do it.
Okay. All right, I will. See you later, Paul. Thanks for the tip.
I get to open since I came up with this brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to open for you once. I don't know if you remember this gig. Well, I've opened for you a few times, but one I remembered. Well, 2 I remember. I remember all our gigs, but we did a show in Indiana. And
in Munster.
Munster, yes.
Oh, that was a cool show.
Well, it was, but then you had a heckler. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, she was annoying as fuck. I don't remember what she said specifically, but
who does?
But after you were done with her, I almost felt sorry for her. Like I did, because you were so nice for a second, but then you were so mean. It was like personal. Like I don't remember whatever it is. Yeah. It sounded like you knew her. I was like, oh, he knows her. Like, do you remember?
I remember that. I don't remember what I said.
No,
I don't remember what I said. But
they were rude. I remember they were like loud. And I just did that show again, or version of it, and they are just like it's the way the room's set up. Is even if one person's talking, it's so loud.
Okay, you in that same
theater.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, okay.
They hit me. They knew someone new was running it, and they hit me up to do it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And then it was fun. But I remember being there, and I was like, oh shit, I better. And I did have a person talking, but I like didn't handle it like you did. I was just like, please shut up.
I implore you.
please shut up. Everyone else is having a good time.
And did they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I don't think it was one of those situations where they didn't know that they were being
Right.
loud.
They didn't know.
But your situation, they knew. They were like,
she knew.
I think she was like,
She thought she was being entertaining and fun.
right. It was her birth. Oh, I remember it was her birthday or something. And
Always
you
the worst. Birthday
You
party.
ruined
Whose
her
birthday is? Who's getting married?
No,
Oh,
I didn't do
boy.
that. I remember I didn't. I knew not to do that, and I knew that. And I remember afterwards, I think she was crying in the hallway. He was like, "You ruined my birthday," and I was like, "I kind of feel bad
you
for her."
ruined your birthday, ma'am. I tell you what, man. The worst. I don't know if you ever heard this. I was doing Zanies in St. Charles. Did you hear about this?
No, tell me.
This was 17. I think it was 17.
Okay.
And I was doing, Trump jokes, some stuff about Trump. Not doing Trump jokes. You just say stuff that Trump did. The jokes he write
for himself.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and at the Zanies in St. Charles was you could see probably to the middle of the audience, and then from the back on it was kind of dark.
Right.
Right. I'll tell you this, the Zanies in St. Charles always reminded me. I always said it looked like the hull of a slave ship.
I've never been in one, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, me either. But that's what I hear.
That's what you pictured.
Yeah. That's what my great grand folks
told you.
Yeah,
that's how you got the name Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah.
So you're at the St. Charles Zanies.
Yeah.
It's in a barn.
In a ship, in a slave ship, and I heard a little muffling, something. Somebody said something, whatever. I get off stage, come out, and Chris, who used to manage Zanies in St. Charles, who now manages Zanies in Rosemont, she said we had to kick those people out. They were heckling, and said it was a group. They said some of them left crying. They left and they were crying about the stuff I was saying about Trump, and a couple of people on the way out gave me the Nazi salute.
What?
Yeah, that's how I do it, Paul.
Hell yeah.
I turn my audience into Nazis.
That's good for you, I guess. Well,
Yeah.
Not right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that didn't happen with you two. 'Cause
No.
I'm trying to get out of here.
I'm half Jewish. I don't think they allow
Okay.
that. But
all right then.
what is that the worst situation you've ever had? I feel like every time I've worked with you, something weird has happened.
The funny part is I didn't see any of that happening because I couldn't see them.
Right.
I was just told about it. So
you didn't even know.
I didn't even know. Yeah. Nah, that's a good story to me.
What's the worst heckling situation you've had that you remember?
A long time ago, I did a show, like a bar show in Hammond, Indiana.
Everything is always in Indiana.
Everything.
Nothing
man.
good happens.
The moment you say, I did a show in Indiana, and what happened? Everything. And so I'm doing the show. I'm bombing. And I said, and, granted, maybe they felt provoked. And I said something. I said, man, I'm out here bombing in front of people I don't even like. Not the best thing to say. But I didn't mean it and it was a white crowd. I didn't mean it in a racial way. I just meant, like when you're bombing, you don't like those people, right?
They don't understand.
It could be your family.
Yeah.
You're bombing. Oh, I don't like you all. Right, but they don't understand. Thought it was racial. Heard some murmur after I said, oh, nigger.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. That was the cat who had booked me. Wait a minute, sir. Can you say that for after you pay me?
Well, that's probably the worst, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, and I tell you, this was a dumb heckle. This was at the old. Now, when you started, was the Barrel of Laughs still?
No, it was gone.
It was gone. Okay. Barrel of Laughs.
I know
used
what
to
it is,
be-
though, yeah.
Yeah, Oak Lawn, Bill Brady. And that joint, early on, I used to call it Barrel of Bigots.
Okay. Oak Lawn, south side of Chicago, for people who don't know.
But like I said, always to Bill's credit, he always booked me, gave me stage time. And over time, that place, I loved going to that place, and the audiences became better. But this was in the early days. I was doing it, and I was on stage, and this, like I said, this was just more bewildering. And this woman just kept yelling. What was she kept yelling? Are you? What did she say? Are you Bob Marley?
Do you have dreads back
No,
then?
no. That's not what it is. No. That's not what she said, because that was pre-locks. She kept saying, "Are you black?" That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, periodically. So. Are you black?
During your set.
Yeah. Ma'am. Just wait till after the show, and then we can clear up some things. Yeah.
Well, it's confusing with the Kennedy, relation to the president,
not if she knew,
former president.
Not if she knew how that came about. She'd be less confused and more likely to.
How did it come about?
Well, my family was adopted, Paul.
Oh, okay.
By force.
By who?
Force.
Force?
Kennedy. Force.
Oh, force. God, you gotta make everything so racial.
Well, everything is racial.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Well, it was always racial. Whether people addressed it or not, things simmered or, were suppressed. It's always racial. It's always been racial.
It's a different race or identity that's in the news every so often, right? So when Russia and Ukraine started that whole thing, as a Middle Eastern person, I'm like, oh, cool, like we're out of the spotlight for a while, and then fucking 1 month later, like, God damn it, like
right.
Why'd you Hamas?
Yeah,
and then now we're in the spotlight, but
right.
then there'll be like something crazy that happens in America with the shooting, and then it'll be like, okay, or some
right.
mistreatments, then another person will be in the thing. So it's just like people have a short attention span for things.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah?
No, I don't. I just watch Newhart reruns. that's
I love Newhart.
Such a good show, right?
Man, I like it more now. Yeah, it's just the jokes are so solid.
I never watched it when I was younger, when I was a kid, and I just started watching because I love old sitcoms, and I finished Mary Tyler Moore, which is also very well written. And then I switched to Newhart. I was like, holy shit. I mean, it's and it's still holds up.
Yeah.
Everything it does is so dry and clever. He's so funny.
Just solid joke structure, man, which is timeless.
Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore is fantastic. Great writing, of course. But I think a lot of comedy came out of the characters, but still characters have
character driven. Right.
Yeah. But Newhart, man, it's just
it's all
jokes.
writing.
Yeah, it's the writing. It's like when Cheers first came out.
Yeah,
like, man,
all writing.
Just those jokes.
Big difference. Right.
Yeah. As opposed to the Cosby Show, which I used to watch it when it first came on, like, because somebody, Bill Cosby, him, but after a while, I was like, I don't,
You still
I'm
talk
glad
to him
it's
a lot?
on. I'm glad it's. What do you say?
You still talk to him a lot?
All the time. I don't take his calls like I used to.
So you and your friend Bill,
Yeah.
tell us more about like what you guys are going on tour now. You're open for him.
Yeah.
You won't open for Kwame, but you'll go with Bill to Oakland. That's cool.
But no, man, I was glad the show was on TV. Of course, black folks on TV. But I didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah, it was It
was entertaining, I guess.
You didn't laugh out loud, but Bill Newhart laugh out loud by myself. I mean, he's so fucking funny.
Yeah, and once The Simpsons came on, and it came on at the same time, counter program, The Simpsons started coming.
Oh, right,
directly opposite Cosby. Done with Cosby.
Yeah. What I just now that you brought that up about seeing having people of color on TV on Newhart, the one thing that I will say is I'm on season 5 now, and I don't think I've seen any people of color on that show.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about Newhart or the Bob Newhart show?
The Newhart, the one where he's in Vermont, not the Bob Newhart show.
Oh, Newhart.
That's the one that's really good with my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
Yeah, that was funny too.
You like the original one back? Oh, yeah, that was okay. I just really love Newhart, but I'm on season 5, and I don't think there's been one person of color on that show, or even
they
race.
based? Vermont.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're consistent.
They got no non-whites making it up there.
Yeah,
on
but it's.
purpose.
I didn't even think about it till now. But
Yeah.
right
Although if that show were being cast today,
yeah,
they would probably have an Indian cat on,
yeah.
an Indian person, male or female, because that's like splitting the difference. Well, we don't want any black people.
In Vermont,
Yeah,
on the
but
show.
we want somebody who is like white adjacent,
Just for
white
the
friendly.
right, to
Yeah.
make it more appealable to
Yeah.
the general audience. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
What non-whites can we stomach
Indians is the one. Is that the one right now?
right now? I think.
Interesting. Did you ever work with Bob Newhart?
No, I never worked.
Who's like the most prolific or the person that you were most excited about working with, or that you now, whether you were excited about before and then afterwards, you still held up. You know what I mean?
I mean, like who was like prominent, or what do you mean?
People that you were looking forward to working with, and then it held. Like sometimes you work with someone, you get all excited, and you're like, it wasn't that great. But then afterwards, you're like, or sometimes you're like, that was amazing.
You know,
was
most of
hilarious,
the way I experience, a lot of the way I experience sometimes is in retrospect, and like in the moment I'm sort of detached.
Yeah.
Then
So other than Cosby, what were the other ones?
Other than me and Bill, well, I mean, I did Jerry Seinfeld,
Yeah. Right.
Larry David.
Did you do stand up with Larry David too?
I was on a show with
Okay.
Larry David one time, like a showcase
In New York or something?
in New York. Yes, at the First Amendment
Okay.
Comedy Club. But like he was on the bill, I was on the bill, but we weren't. I didn't know him. We
Right.
didn't speak. Yeah. I used to hear I don't even know if I saw his set, but I used to hear that he would he would do a set, and if you talking about somebody saying something in the audience, if just the least little thing, he
Go
was done.
off the rails.
Yeah. I'm out. Yeah. So but yeah. I don't know who else.
Any of the newer shows you've done recently where you like walked away like shit that guy's gonna or that girl's gonna be amazing.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know if I remember names, but I see people like, oh yeah, they're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're funny. A lot of funny folks, man. And then now, with online, I tell you what's sort of depressing is like writing jokes and then you just strolling online. It's like, oh man, I had a joke just like that.
Yeah.
What do you do when that happens? You just don't do the joke?
There was one joke that I didn't do for a while because Michael Che did a joke similar to it on SNL, but I was doing it at the time.
I was gonna say maybe that's where Michael Che got it from.
Well, that's what someone said because a lot of the writers at the time were from Chicago, so they were doing shows, and it was almost identical. So I didn't do it for a while, and then I just started doing it again, and just see like if someone says that he did it before, I go, I got the original, I got audio of me doing it.
Yeah, see.
From 2 years before he even. It was like a gay marriage joke, which when I did it was when it was relevant, and then he did it like when it wasn't even in the news. It was like, why is this? And then,
about like gay men used to have an excuse for not getting married.
Right. Yeah. Similar thing. Like, I mean, it's not like the premise is comedians do that all the time,
right.
but the act out of mine was very similar to what he did. I was like, what the? I mean, it's like it was like it was just a weird coincidence.
Now, have you heard? And maybe we can. I don't know if you're gonna leave this part in or not.
I heard that SNL has done that as the writer, and there's been people that have put online where like, here's the original submission, and then here's what they ended up doing.
I'm gonna tell you something, and
I don't know if it's him or who, but
okay, years ago, and I'm gonna be vague because I don't want to put this
as your
person's
lawyer,
name out.
right.
Yeah, but I used to do this club. And I used to do this bit all the time at this club. And there was a person there who would see this bit all the time. Okay, fine. Time goes by. This was in the 80s, Time goes by. One night, I think I'm watching Saturday Night Live. Maybe some years later, I don't know. David Allen Greer was the host.
On the show on
Saturday
SNL.
Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching Saturday Night Live. And he does this opening monologue. And it's really similar.
Oh,
to
no.
mine.
Yeah.
Right? like, man, that's really, really, really similar. And then, sometimes, you have, what is it, parallel thinking,
Parallel
all
thinking,
that stuff.
yeah.
But then I found out a person who used to see me do that bit all the time was
a
writing
writer.
on Saturday Night
Oh,
Live.
shit. Yeah.
And probably like, man, I got to do something to justify me being here.
Mm-hmm.
You get desperate, or you start, or you're thinking that person's in Chicago, and I don't have it recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that back in the day, you'd go to like clubs in L.A. All comedians from Chicago and New York would go to L.A. to showcase, and then there would be just comedians in the back just being like, "Oh, I'm gonna rip that shit off."
Like
and
they say, you leave town, but your act doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard that happen a lot.
Oh man.
And I've seen that even on my own, where like comedians like, "Hey, this guy is doing your bit in Arizona." I'm like, well, as long as he doesn't do it when I'm in there, I don't care.
You know what I mean? It's like
but they're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter.
And it used to be, well, as long as they don't do it on television. But
Right.
now it's like you don't need to. They're going to do it on their phone and put it throughout the world. Like, man,
yeah.
Can you do like? And I saw something the other day. Like, there's a bit I want to do, but it's not ripping off because I haven't even. I think I've maybe done the one part once on stage, maybe, and maybe not even.
Right.
Like, so it's a bit I've done on stage, but the tag I haven't done yet. And then I saw somebody online do it with this. It's the same structure that I would use for the tag.
With the same tag at the end?
It's almost the same. I was like, oh, boy. I was really looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, I had that happen recently where a comedian it was almost identical, but then I was watching, I was like, oh shit, like, because it's a very specific premise, and then I took it a whole different direction. So I was like, it feels like there was like a parallel on one point, and then we split off. I'm like, okay, cool, because there's only one overlap, the subject, but I'm like, man, I don't think it's enough. I mean, he's a lot bigger comic than me, but I'm like, I'm still gonna do it because I didn't know about it, and my ending is way better.
Yeah, well, mine is like this ending
That
is
sucks.
almost exact. I'm like, that was going to be a good one. And I've had this. Haven't you heard about this? That copywriters, ad writers, come to comedy clubs and rip people off. I had
for commercials and stuff too. Yeah.
Who?
They'll do it. They'll use it on
commercial.
the commercial.
Yeah. There's a person, Kane Collier. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, he's in the book. I don't know who he is, but
okay,
they talk about him.
Yeah, Kane reached out to me one time years ago and told me, hey, man, this Geico ad ripped off one of your bits. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Right. What was the bit? What was
the bit? It was about musicians getting women, and like, that's why I wish I could play guitar, because you probably get all the women, but like you probably like. And then I said, you probably get, if you're a musician, you get women unless you play like triangle.
Yeah,
probably don't get too many women. And so it's the whole thing about triangle and being triangle. Okay, so then Geico, like years later, had a commercial about a cat playing triangle. Oh. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like nobody could ever not think of that. So I don't know. But I have heard that like I said,
it happens.
Those copywriters, those ad writers come to comedy clubs,
and comedians do it too.
And and Chi-Town is a big ad agency town, so maybe
gotta be careful.
But what can you do?
That's why you got to put your shit out there, so it's out there. It's time stamped.
Correct.
So do that next week. We'll book you at a club. Do 2 45-minute sets.
Right. I'll just go up and just take all my notebooks and just read off everything I ever did.
Film it.
Yeah.
You can keep your hat on.
Yeah.
Fine. Bring some DQ, whatever you want. Make you comfortable.
Neil Brennan.
That's what he
did a special, and I have a friend, my friend Owen Smith. Owen knows Neil, and Neil sent the special over for Owen just to look at it before he released it. And Neil did a bit like mine that I have done I think I did it on Conan.
Mm-hmm.
And Owen told him, hey man, this bit, and he sent it to him. This Dwayne's getting a bit, but he did it in a special anyway. So I've had people tell me that a few times. of like bits I've
People-
actually done
yeah.
on TV. Like, oh, I saw somebody
Right.
told me Robin Williams did a bit just like yours, but
Get
I
that
don't
shit
wanna-
out there.
Yeah, man. And then you don't want to say it too much because then you start sounding like a egomaniac. I start, and then here's
Bitter.
somebody who ripped me out. And then, okay, have you ever heard of Jesus? One time they said he did a bit that was just like.
It's like the old people watching Shark Tank at night. They're like, I came up with that idea in '87. Like that's gonna be you,
Yeah.
unless you have evidence, man.
Yeah, man. But
Can I just text you every day and be like, "What have you done?" I'm good at. I'm very organized and detail oriented person.
Yeah,
I can
man.
motivate. I can be like, I can be annoying. I'll be like, "Hey, what did you do? Your steps to getting that special out?"
I'm working.
I'll
on
motivate you.
it. Yeah. No, I'm actually. Working
I'll be
on,
so annoying that you're like, "Fine, motherfucker."
Yeah,
I could do it.
I was.
I just want to open. That's all I ask for.
Okay. I was actually at this point in time, I was planning on having done a special and recorded an album, but just some, like I said, things came up with my father.
Sure.
Kind of put me back, but I'm still planning on doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going up this weekend. I mean, I'm trying some
Hell
stuff
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Well, I'll always try to give you stage time whenever I got stuff too.
No, I
So
appreciate you, man.
I want you. You got to come do my show at Laugh Factory too on Mondays.
Yeah.
It's stand up and then you sit down, so you can sit down more. Whatever we didn't get out tonight, we'll do it then.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like a talk show situation.
You do a set and then it's called stand up, sit down, then you sit down and we talk to you.
Oh, that's cool.
It's fun. Yeah,
That might turn into something.
might.
You never know.
There's a bunch of shit like that.
Yeah.
It's the space we're in these days. People want to hear shit about comedians. That's why this book, they're putting your name all over the place.
Is it selling?
I don't know. I like it. I'm not done with it yet, so don't tell me how it ends. The comedy scene. Dwayne, where can
It never ends.
where can people find out more about you and your upcoming stuff? What's the best way to find out when the special comes out? Where are you going to post about it? Or your website?
I have a website that I never check. I have an Instagram page that I never post. I have a Facebook situation.
You're always on Facebook.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, but nobody ever else is on Facebook. So.
I still am. I
Okay.
love your Facebook posts.
Okay, that's it. But I'm tightening up on all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah, everything.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah. I'm trying to get in.
Before you
Instagram
get on
shape.
that road trip with Bill Cosby, I know you wanna.
Yeah.
I don't want people to get mad at you for that.
Yeah. I'm opening for Bill at his next trial.
Thanks, Dwayne, for coming on.
Oh, man. Thanks
I
for
really
having me.
appreciate this a lot. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you all for watching and listening to another episode of Why Are You Awake?